Hey guys, this is Hero Serrano. Thank you for joining my Twitch once again. Uh, Today, what I want to do is basically do some more testing on the latest feature that I added to the engine. I also want to document the methods, the functions that I added. Um, it's gonna be hopefully a more relaxing stream. I'm basically going to be going. I'm basically going to be just testing out different 3D models and see if everything actually works. So let's get to work. Let me put on my headphones. So basically, this is one of the models that I've been testing out. I know that it works, but I want to, before I actually do a pull request, well, basically before I merge what I have to my development branch, I want to do more testing on other different type of terrains to make sure that everything works. Actually, this morning I did find out an issue. It was kind of a simple one. I already fixed it. So let's see what can we do today. So I'm gonna delete that terrain, and I'm gonna instead of having a plane, what I'm gonna do now, I'm going to have an actual cube. Where did it go? And I'm gonna bring it down to 0, 0, 0. I'm gonna put a cube right at this point right here, and then what I'm gonna do, I'm going to actually scale this along the x-axis, and I'm gonna scale it by 8. Then I'm gonna scale it again by 8 over here. All right. And one of the things that you always need to keep in mind when you're using the game engine is that you need to make sure that the scale here for the 3D models are actually set to 111. So the scale to Unity basically, not to the game engine Unity, but to scale of 1 overall. Normalized. That's a better word. Normalized. So let me actually create some lines here. Let me create about 12 of those. All right, and I'm gonna create other 12 here. All right, what's the problem with this light? Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, I'm actually going to get some of these points right here. And again, I'm just doing a bunch of testing, and I'm gonna be documenting everything just to make sure that things work. Alright, let me actually pull those guys out. I'm gonna create some kind of a hill here. And I don't want that actually. Why am I seeing it on the other side? I don't want that. It's weird. Okay. Now I'm just gonna do that. And I'm gonna do something over here to bring them up. That way I can have some hills to go up. Okay, I don't want the thing to could be I want to make sure that this is proper, so oh, that's why. Let me bring these guys up with this. So basically, that's affecting things over there, right? That's affecting things on this end. Okay, I see. Oh, I do not know how to. How can we do this? And it's affecting that. I want to make sure that this is actually flat. So let me delete this then, and I'm gonna create a new cube. And instead of having a width of 1, I'm going to actually increase. There you go. Just for that, to make sure. Something that you need to keep in mind always when you're developing a game engine is that you need to do a lot of testing, and make sure that you're not assuming things, because that is one of the things that it actually is going to lead to a lot of bugs when you're doing a game engine. Don't just assume, actually test them as much as possible. And let me do one here, 12. Alright, so I'm gonna get this point right here. Let me get that point, and one, two, there you go, something like that. Alright, that's flat. And here, let's get more something like that. Perfect. Alright, as long as that's flat, I'm okay. Now let me normalize this. And before we port it, let me go to my UV editing tool. And let's unwrap this so we can create a UV map. Alright, so that's my image that I'm gonna use. And right, let me scale this so I can just use one particular color, and let's use bluish, something that green right there. That's good enough for me. Alright, again, it's only testing, nothing fancy. Use texture here, bring out the light over here so we want to see. Okay, so if we export this, and I need to change the name of this to plain because that's how I have it in my test right now. So I'm going to export this to my folder. I'm gonna bring up Xcode, and here in Xcode, basically what I have, I load up the astronaut, which is the 3D game character that you saw, this guy right here. And I'm also loading up the plane. I'm not loading up anything else. I'm not loading up any of the trees or anything like that, because I just want to make sure that everything works. I'm not really too interested in how nice it looks yet. All right, let me build this and let me turn on my controller. All right, so should build. One of the issues that I found in the morning was that if I moved the terrain up or down to a different location that is not centered at 0, that whole feature of going up and down the hill would actually fail. And the reason why that was happening is because I was using the local space of the 3D model, and I was not basically transforming the local space to absolute space, to the world space basically. Alright, so now I'm gonna move my my astronaut. It should go up. Oh, there you go. Now let me bring it back over here. It should go down. Now let's see if we actually goes that other side. All right. That looks good. All right. I think everything looks good. Let me actually move the whole terrain even further. That way I can actually see if everything works. again, you know, when you're working with a game engine, I recommend you to always do as a lot of tests as possible, as many tests as possible. You'll be surprised how many times your assumption is usually incorrect. Another issue that I found actually was that when I do a test between the array and a plane, I was not taking into account whenever array is parallel to a plane. And that was giving me issues. And how I found them is by actually doing some of these tests that I did in the morning. Alright, so I did that. I translated the whole plane down. So let me export this again. Okay, I'm gonna run this. Now I believe this is gonna be my 16th time that I'm doing a Twitch, so it's kind of cool. Alright, so I have the Mac. Let's see, can you go that way? Uh-oh, why? Okay, I think that was something with... Why is it taking so long? Do you see how it actually slowed down? I wonder why did that happen. It didn't happen here, but it happened over here. I wonder if that is something... Hold on, let me run this again. I didn't notice that my computer kind of slowed down whenever I went that way. Alright, let me move it this way. Look at that. That's a problem right there. It's like it's taking a long time. Let's do it one more time. Okay, didn't happen right again. I wonder why did that happen? Huh. Does it happen if I move it up? Okay. I want to see if the same problem occurs when I have it there. So I'm gonna move to my Mac right now. All right, let's see. Hopefully, okay, there is a problem. You see how it's slowing down? That's weird. There has to be a problem with I'm taking too long in some of these calculations then. But it happens in some occasions. Alright. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna run this, and I'm gonna be having my memory here, so I can actually see it when it's running. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna move to my Mac right now, so that way you can also see the memory, because I'm curious to see. Hold on. This guy has not many faces actually, so. Alright, I'm gonna run this. and I want to see my CPU, what's happening with my CPU in that instance. Okay, so now it dropped to 8%. Okay, cool. 11, 29, 64. How did that happen? Okay, that's not good. That is not good at all. Yep. Okay, there's something in the algorithm that I'm doing. I'm wasting too much. Uh, I'm doing something really bad in my algorithm somewhere. All right. Let me come back over here to my code over here. You know what I want to do? I'm actually want to double check what is it. I'm going to reset this and use my plane that I had here. And now with my plane here, I'm going to do the same test, okay? And this particular guy had how many faces? Almost 2,000 faces. Well, let me run it on this guy. Okay. And I want to see what's the problem. Again, I'm gonna move my over here, so I'm gonna go to my Mac so you can actually see the memory, and I'm gonna run this now, and let's see what I get. Okay, so I get 5% here. Okay. All right, there's definitely something bad here. My new fix that I did to the engine is messing things up completely. How did that happen? Because it was working fine. Alright. This is the things that you need to fix, right? We need to make sure that doesn't start happening. One of the things that I did change. Hold on, let me do this. It's funny because I didn't see it earlier when I actually was doing some debugging. And now that occurs, and now I wonder where did that come from. And I didn't do that many changes actually. Okay, this is in a indexing all the files again. Now with my raycast here, you know, the big change that I did was basically when I called when I actually is here. Could this be the problem? Get mesh face data. You know what? I think this is the problem. Don't tell me I'm calling it here, dude, because if I'm doing that, then well, every time I do a raycast, uh, that's the problem. I'm calling that here, and every time I call that, okay, I need to do something smarter here. I cannot be doing that every time. Um, okay, I'm gonna prove that that's the problem. Okay, instead of returning a face, instead of returning that absolute space, I'm going to return how I had it before. Okay, faces local space container. All right. I'm not, which means I'm not gonna do none of this. None of this. All right. I think that is what is slowing things down. That's the bottleneck right there. All right. No. Let's build this. And I'm gonna move it over here so we can actually test that. My Mac. All right, things should be coming soon. Should be building by now. There you go. It's coming up. All right, so we're gonna do the test there. All right, so now look at the CPU here. All right, the consumption. Let's see. When I walk, you see the consumption is 8%, which is good. You know what? That's the bottleneck. I need to fix that. I'm telling you, every time you work on something in the engine, oh man. Cool, that works. See, my consumption is only 8%, which is exactly what I remember. That's really good, right? I mean, you don't want to be consuming too much memory, CPU processing power. So let me explain to you why I had to do that, and I think I have to come up with a better, oh, how can I say it, a nicer way how to do that. More efficient way how to do that. So let me show you the problem, right? So I want to delete this, and then I'm going to create a cube again like I did before, and I'm going to put it here, x, I'm going to scale it by 8, 3 sy 8. All right, let me normalize that. I'm going to go into edit mode, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to create 12, I don't even know what's the name, but they call it like bisections or subdivisions. There you go, subdivisions. Boom, boom. And now I'm gonna get this guy so you can actually see it. Boom. All right. Again, let me just do this really quick so you can get an idea of what's the problem. All right. Okay. Now, what I'm gonna do, the first thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you that whenever this, like right now, the origin of this model is at location 0, 0, 0, -1, 0. Okay. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna move it up to basically location to the origin. All right. So right there. Make this 0. All right. And then I'm gonna export this, and you're gonna see that this actually works. The character is able to go up and down the hill. All right. Let me call this plane. Let me export this. I actually thought I had this already all figured out, but I guess, that's what it takes. You're developing a game engine. Things don't always work as you expect them to work. All right. So now you're gonna see that with the character, in that location, I'm able to move up and down. See, everything looks okay, right? Now, check what happens if I actually move all this um, uh, to lower position over here. Now, in this, whenever I do this, that character will not be able to go up or down the hill. And the reason is because without the code snippet that I commented right now, I'm basically using my local coordinate vectors, right? Instead of using my global, right? You see how it changes, especially my height, right? Um, when I do this, it's not gonna work. But I want to show you so you can actually see it. All right, and then I'm gonna go to my Mac. And watch. It's not gonna go up or down the hill. It's just gonna go straight, walking like it's nothing. Boom. You see? The problem is because I am not. Without this code snippet right here, I'm not basically taking into account. Let me show you. Without this code snippet right here, which I commented out, it's not taking into account that I need to use the absolute coordinates, right? The problem that you saw is that whenever I do that, actually, it's creating a huge bottleneck, right? So I need to come up with a better way of where to put this. All right. So, number one, I should not be calling this every so often. That's number one. Where do I do this? Where can I do this? Alright, so if I go to my static model, there is this function right here called enable mesh manager. And what the enable mesh manager does is it basically initiates the whole OG3 generation. It builds the OG3. And for me to build the OG3, I need to get the face data basically of the 3D model, right? What if I do that? What if when I enable the whole enable mesh, what if when I say enable mesh manager, I get my whole OG3, the proper values for my, which is actually what I need. Because when I build my OG3, guess what I'm doing? I build my OG3, which then I build the OG3 node, which essentially I call this get mesh face data. See, I'm computing it, right? And then I'm computing it again. I shouldn't be doing that. Then when I do a raycast, I do get mesh OG3 manager, right? then I do get mesh data. Well, why don't I do it like this instead? Why don't I create a vector container in my mesh octree manager that has a pointer to that vector container. And we are doing this under the assumption that our model here is going to be static. It's not going to be moving around, because if it moves around, if it's dynamic, then everything will fail. So we need to make sure that this is like, it's not something like that. Okay, so what we can do here, when we build our octree here, right? Where is this guy? In here, right? What we do is we compute all of the faces using the absolute space of my 3D character, all right? And I store that in a vector. Okay. My mesh octree manager, which is part of my 3D object, has basically a vector container to that. Okay, so let's do it like this, and hopefully that should fix my problem. I don't know if it's the ideal way to do that, but I use for the triangle, and let's call this face container, face absolute space container. All right. Here let's add std vector u for the triangle, get mesh faces absolute container. Alright, let's do it like that. And man, I have a lot to comment. I like to document. Alright, so here what I'm gonna do something like this. Alright, so I'm going to get rid of this method right here, so I'm not going to be calling that. I'm going to copy this to the other, and I'm going to remove this guy because that is not what I want anymore. Okay, so now here I need to actually call model, which gets the faces from my data container. This is my, well, I can remove this now. Nope, 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 no, no, and no. You're gonna find out why I shouldn't do that. Let me just finish this up. All right, model. Yes. This would be my new mesh faces absolute container. Okay, I'm gonna return it here. Okay, that mesh faces absolute container. Pop. Okay. I'm not gonna call it get mesh. I'm gonna call it compute. It should be compute. Compute mesh absolute space. Okay, this is gonna be void. All right. Boom. Okay, so let me bring this over here. So this one is going to be a compute, and the other one's going to be a get. That okay. Okay, this one's going to be return. Come on. Mesh faces absolute container. Mesh, boom, that one. Okay, that one's going to return that. This one I'm not going to return anything. I'm just going to be adding to my mesh container. All right, so now I'm going to call, before I do this, I'm going to basically say compute mesh container mesh faces in absolute space, right? And then I'm just going to compute. All right, that one will basically give me my that one will give me this guy, mesh faces container, which I am not going to use here because I don't need it. Sorry guys. So for my mesh container, I'm just going to do this. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me step to the bathroom. Okay, sorry about that. All right, mesh faces container, that one. Okay, and keep in mind that mesh faces container is basically what I have for my absolute space. Okay, I don't know if this is good, but it's more clear. Oh boy. Okay, so here then I want to get rid of. No, this one I should not get rid of anything. This is so good. polygon information is what I need. Alright, static model, get mesh arc3. So basically, I'm giving the responsibility to my mesh arc3 to actually compute my meshes in absolute space. Number one, it needs to compute that in absolute space, so that it can build the whole arc3 properly. So basically, I'm giving him the particular responsibility. Okay. Alright, so now when I call my raycast, I don't need to call, I do not need to get this, right? Because all what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna call my mesh manager and say, hey, get mesh, how did I call it? I'm gonna say, hey, get mesh faces absolute space container. That's what I want over here. Boom. And that should give me all of my mesh containers in absolute space already computed. Okay, because my other problem was that we were computing it at every game tick, and that was slowing everything down. So now what I've done, I give that responsibility to the mesh manager. Now keep in mind that all of my faces of my 3D character are still in local space. My mesh manager is converting that. So I need to put like some kind of alright, yeah, that's good. Seems okay. Well, it's not okay until in absolute space. It's not okay until it runs with utmost efficiency, my friends. Okay, come on guys, let's build this and let's do this. Let's see if this works. It should build successfully, unless I made a huge mistake, which most of the times I do. Right, so I had a game this morning. I actually wanted to do a Twitch. Well, I was planning to do a Twitch this morning, but I had forgotten that my game was at 8 a.m. When I woke up, like around 5:30, 5:40, I think I woke up. I wanted to document the functions, the methods that I had implemented. And I was playing around, and I figured, you know what? Let me do a nice terrain. And let me move it up, a particular different location. And that's when I found out that there was an issue with the engine. So I fixed that, and then I went to play soccer, and I came back. I cooked, ate, and I felt, you know what? I figured let me do a Twitch stream, and so I can do something more relaxing, no more just simple testing. In my mind, everything was working properly until I see this, that the CPU was consuming way too much, was not efficient enough. So it sucks. All right, now I'm gonna run it. I'm gonna go to my Mac screen so you could see this. Oh, you know what? Actually, because we do want to see our memory, let me put it over here. so you can be witness of everything. All right. Was this at 0 or a 1? All right, that's that's good. 7%. Hey man, that's good. However, I do not recall if this is at 0. Hold on, let me come over here and let me actually. Oh, let me export this, okay? Because this one is at -1, and that was what was causing my issues earlier in the morning. So I'm gonna export that, and I'm gonna switch to my Mac, and I'm gonna build this. And let's see. Let's see. Now, take a look at the memory here consumption. All right, the CPU basically. Let's see, 8%, 7%. Okay, that's good. See, that's way better. Um, ignore the demo. You don't worry about that. Just make sure, just keep look at the consumption. So what I really care. All right. Let me go back to coding here. Now let's actually I wanted to do something else. Let's do more testing. That's what we should be doing. Yes. All right. Let me get rid of this guy. Now let me try to come on one. I want to do like how I had it before when I found out the issue. X8 3SY8. All right, I'm going to normalize this. Now I'm going to subdivide this into 8. No, heck no. Let's do it 12. All right. I want to increase the number now. 12. All right. Let me do it here and here. All right. So no, I don't want you guys to come over here. I want you guys to keep it flat because I noticed that when I was doing that earlier. All right. That's flat, good. Now I wanted something over here. Let's pick that one over there. Okay, now let's bring it up like that. As long. Shoot, that actually took some. It took some of the vertices from underneath up. All right, that's good. Let's go to my UV editing. Now, to be honest with you, I thought I was gonna be done with this feature like on Wednesday. Man, but every time I keep adding more, keep doing more testing, I realized, hey, something is not working. Something looks odd. Like today, the CPU was consuming too much power. All right, so I hope that everything looks better now. All right, so I have that. Let me change the name to plain. Let me export this. All right, now I'm gonna move to my Mac over here, and I'm gonna build this, and let's look at the memory. My memory. And let's see how much do I consume. 8%, 6%, nothing. That's nothing, guys. 8, 9, perfect. Okay, that's a lot better, guys. Good. Oh my gosh. Go up, go up, go up. Okay, that's good. Let me run it one more time. So that way we know. This looks way better. Could not believe we were actually consuming 60% of our CPU only in going up or down that slope. That's not acceptable at all. Boom. There you go. 8%, 9%. Not bad. Okay, that's something. Don't worry about the 3D game character going sideways. That is something else. That is part of that demo, which I didn't. Basically, when I did that demo, I was doing it for something else, but I didn't want to come up with a different demo, so I used the same code basically, without taking into account that many times my character may be a little bit too low from the terrain, so I need to add a little bit height to it, stuff like that. So all right, now let me review this because it seems that it's okay now. So when I do my ray cast, my head between my the ray and my model, right? I get my Octree manager. I get the root of my node intersection points, which I actually do not use, but I need them because the method requires them. When I'm doing the head, or what I do is I get the faces of the 3D model, get the mesh faces actually of the 3D model in absolute space, which is what I need. And I basically go through the whole thing and make sure that I get the proper normal triangle, the normal vector. Alright, good triangle, your direction normalized. Okay, that's good. Now in my Octree manager, things that I added was that when I'm ready to assign the triangles to my Octree nodes, what I do is I actually compute the mesh faces in absolute space. Recall mesh faces are in local space. You need to convert them to absolute space, or else all hell will break loose. Alright, that's my get root node. Compute mesh faces absolute space. Alright, basically here I get my orientation and I transform my vector of my triangle by that matrix orientation. Basically what I do here is all of my faces, and when I say faces, if you're new to computer graphics, I'm basically referring to these triangles here, right? If you notice, I have one of these faces highlighted. If you notice here in my coordinates, right now I have it in global, which is what I need to have it in the engine. However, when I export them, they're exported in local space. You need to have it in global space, and that's basically what I do with this, with the whole thing here. Alright, that's that. Under model, I basically didn't change anything, right? I only re-added that polygon information, but here I don't do anything. My static model, yeah, my static model doesn't do anything either. So basically my mesh manager is the one in charge of computing that. Now let me see. Well, it is my mesh manager, so I'm expecting it, if I add more stuff to it, I'm expecting the mesh manager to be to do all of that work. In case I ever need my the edges of the faces, um, stuff like that. Well, if that's the case, then why don't I um, bring this method up? Like putting in my constructor, for example. Because maybe in the future, right, I may be thinking that I need to do that, and guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to recompute my mesh faces again. And that's going to cause a problem, because now I'm going to. So why don't I basically bring that over here, compute flash media. I don't see what could be the problem with that. Let me double check. I'm gonna bring up. So I'm gonna build the whole engine again. I think that's a better place to have it, because I'm afraid that in the future, whenever I may need to add something else. So I'm actually looking at the memory right now at the CPU, and it's actually consuming 7%, 8%, 5%, so it's not a lot. Okay, that's good. I actually think that this is a better way to have it in my constructor, because in the future I may want to do, compute mesh edges in absolute space. I may need that. I'm gonna need something else. So I think that's instead of having it all basically hidden over here, okay, so okay, that looks okay, I guess. Alright, that one I've documented all of that. I need to document this guy here. This is one thing of the engine, man, that is super important. It's very, very, very important, but it's so boring to do, and I actually document all of the methods. But you have to do it, because if you don't, then eventually you're going to forget what you did, and you're gonna be lost and wonder what is doing what. So I need to document this guy, and I need to document the raycast, and this guy also. Oh, only the raycast here. All right, let's do that. So this guy, brief. This one is vector container of the mesh faces in absolute space. Alright, and this one is brief. Computes the transforms. There you go. Transforms the mesh faces of the 3D model from local space to absolute space. And this one, brief, return up. How do I do that? Let's put it like that. Returns the mesh faces in absolute space. Alright, that's good. Good. And raycast. I wonder if I actually added something to. Let me document the class itself. That one. That you for the raycast class test intersections between array and other objects and other 3D objects. Okay, now this is simply the constructor. Let me just copy this because I don't want to be typing it. And I know that there's a quick command that you can have in Xcode so that it auto completes the whole documentation. But for some reason, in the newest version of Xcode, which is what I have here, 10.1, it is not working. I don't know why. I haven't had the time to look into it. Raycast constructor. I'm going back to the mesh org3 manager. In the constructor, I'm going to say that it computes, it transforms. The constructor transforms the 3D mesh faces from local space to absolute space. Just so that I know. This is a destructor. Recast destructor. What? Let me see what do I do in the constructor? Okay, I don't do anything, so I'm not gonna say anything there. All right. Brief. Now this is our params. Array param model and parameter. All right, so this class, this is important, all right, because test intersection between array and test intersection can I write today? Section between array and a 3D model, and returns the face hit. All right, so if that's the case, then I probably have to change that method from hit to something else so that it actually no, that's okay, because I may actually, yeah, that's okay. Ray use ray for intersection model with which the 3D model to test intersection with ray. This is the if there is a hit intersection, if there is an intersection, this is the triangle that will contain, how can I say this, triangle or face, oh, yeah, let's call it like that, face or triangle of the 3D model intersecting with the ray, and here basically return face of 3D model hit, face of 3D model intersecting with the given ray. Boom, there you go. Alright, give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna go check on something. All right, let's go back. All right, so I think that we have everything. I added comments to all of my methods, basically. I think we're good with that. Let me check my GitHub and see what I have changed. Man, I know that ray, I added stuff to ray, to triangle, I fixed that to my model. I changed that manager, raycast. Protocols, I need to do that. Now, I've heard a lot of people that are, they I don't know if it's if that they're complaining or or assuming that a developer should not be using Git through GUI. Um, don't listen to them. You know, you need to use the tools that make you more efficient. All right. You know, whenever you use the GUI, you know, what cool feature that it has and why I use it a lot is I can actually see all of the, you know, any changes that I did uh, in a particular file. You know, I can see the old changes and the new changes and stuff like that. Um, so don't, you know, just use whatever tool you feel more that helps you be more efficient. In the beginning, I was having the same problem, right? Um, I wonder, you know, what would make me better. Basically, I don't know what I was thinking back then, but for a while I started using the terminal, and it's good to know how to use the terminal. Don't get me wrong, it's really good, and you should know how to use the terminal. But eventually, whenever I had like a bunch of files that I had basically changed, I had no idea how to check for the differences, right? um, Between them. So I will use these tools, which they didn't help a lot. And I decided, you know what, forget it. I'm gonna do something that makes me efficient. I'm gonna use a tool that makes me efficient. So I went back to the GUI, and there are, I'm not gonna lie, there are times when I use the terminal, right? Because the GUI cannot do everything. So just use whatever you feel like doing. All right, so let's see. We have all of that. Let me build this. All right, everything looks good. No. Want to do one more test? Yes, I think we should do one more test. Let's do a sphere, actually. Now, let's do a sphere, and let's add this sphere. Let's make it to have 3 subdivisions. Let me scale this. Let me normalize it. Alright. Before I do anything else, let me bring this guy up. Alright. Let me bring this guy over here. Now I'm gonna put my whole sphere in, not at the origin, but, you know, place other than the origin, because I again want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Okay, and I'm gonna put my character right there. Right. Oh, let me call this plane. I'm gonna call this plane again. Now let me get that UV mapping for this guy. So I'm going to unwrap it. Come on, scale this small as possible. Bring up my image. Let's make it whatever that color is. All right. Oh, look what would have happened. Look what would have had to happen. Which is a good test, actually, because at this point I should not be affected by that guy. But you know what? I found a problem here, guys. which I have to fix later on. You know, if there is a game that is kind of how do you call it, platformer game, this may be actually may actually affect the whole game, because keep in mind that we should array from my center of the character all the way down, right? And let's assume that there's another plane here. Man, I found another issue that I have to fix. See what I mean? When you develop a game engine, you need to think about all of this stuff always, because they are going to come up, and you need to be, you know, open-minded to what could change. So for example, let's say that you have a game that is a platformer, right? And let's say that you did not enable the mesh manager on this particular character here, right? What's going to happen is that when you shoot an array, it's going to calculate the new direction for the character, and it's going to make it actually go down. So one of the things that we can do is actually enable, if we enable the, which I'm going to do right now actually, if I enable the mesh manager on this particular character, I should not have a problem with my sphere here. Alright, so but let me just move it there, and let me just test this. I want to make sure that I am not being influenced by the force of gravity from the sphere. Alright, so I'm gonna run it. Oh, light up. Okay, I'm bringing, should come up. Now I should not be, there you go, we're good. You see how that changed? Okay, cool. Now let's put it here. 3, 1. Let me just put a little bit up. Okay, that's good. That's, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't show it. I always forget to change the monitor so you can actually see. Alright, so I'm just doing that. Okay, so I'm gonna export it now. I'm gonna go to my Mac. I'm gonna build this, and let's see what happens. Alright, let's do this. We should go. There you go. That's good. Oh, that's really good, guys. And you know what I want to do now? I want to actually test the memory, because that is very important. 4%, 5%. So that's good. Alright. Okay, I think we have it. We're good. We're good. Now, let's play around with what I mentioned earlier. So let me bring this guy to 0, 0, 0. Alright. I'm gonna change the name of this guy to sphere. Okay, and I'm going to create a new one, a cube. I'm gonna boom. And basically what I'm gonna do, Y, and then X that way. Okay, let me normalize this. So basically I'm going to have the character needs to be walking on top of this platform. And I'm going to enable the match manager on both of this. And ideally, I should not be affected by the sphere over here. If I am, well, there is a huge problem that I will have to fix. So let me go this plane, and just for the heck of it, I'm just going to give it this value right here. That. All right. So boom, sphere. Okay, so I'm gonna export this. All right, and now what I need to do here, I need to do basically something like this. No, I'm not gonna do that. So you for the engine, you for the game object. Come on. My sphere, and then I'm just gonna create a new instance. For the game object, and then what I do here is, if my sphere load model, and the name of my model here is actually sphere with a lowercase s, and everything is under in this file. Alright, so for my sphere, what I want is, sure, let's set enable shadows. What the heck? Then I'm going to enable my mesh manager, and I'm going to call this 2, and then my sphere, obviously I want to render this, so I need to set my information to the GPU, load rendering information, and then I want to display it, so I child my sphere. Alright, that should build without any errors. And what I'm going to do, right now it's enabled, the mesh manager is enabled, and then I'm going to actually disable it to see what happens, just for fun. Mac, switch to my Mac. Alright, so everything is built in. So again, I should be able to walk on my platform without being affected by my sphere, okay? So let's hope that happens. There you go. So I guess we're good. Good. Now, just for the fun of it, okay? I'm going to disable my mesh manager for my plane, all right? And that will actually should make that whole character to go like change orientation. But this, but these are the things that you need to be thinking about when you are developing a game engine. Any scenario that may actually break your assumption or your logic, your algorithm. You have no idea how many times throughout the day I think of stuff on how to break my own game engine, and I think it's useful for you to practice that. Alright, so this, my friends, should make my character change orientation. Well, it's not gonna work. It's not going to work. Yeah, well, that's not going to work because this should always. Why wouldn't that work? I mean, I didn't enable my mesh manager. I mean, it's correct that it shouldn't work, but I just wonder why. Oh, see, raycast hits. Look what we missed, right? Raycast hit, right? Well, my dear friends, we need to make sure here that my mesh manager is not null, right? Because if it doesn't exist, I'm going to be accessing a null pointer, and all of this should not work. Okay, what if I just do, what if I do this? If mesh manager that's not equal to null pointer, then I want to do all of that. I'm telling you, and I'm actually glad that you're seeing this so you understand. You know, I would have never caught this problem. Okay, so now when I do a raycast, it's going to return false because number one, the plane hasn't enabled the mesh manager, right? Only whenever I enable the mesh manager should I actually do the raycast in this instance. All right. Okay, that is building. And I'm gonna switch to my Mac. All right. All right, now. Huh. Interesting. Oh, well, yeah, it's not gonna do anything because yeah, it's not gonna do anything because I do the whole changing the orientation only if there is a raycast. Well, my plane doesn't have a the mesh manager for the plane was not enabled, so it's not going to do a test between these two. If I would have done the test with the sphere, then it should go down. Well, let's do that. What the heck? I want to see how much does it take. I'm gonna change the name of it from plane to sphere. All right, let me build that. Guess it should be coming up. All right, now I should. There you go. That's what I was talking about. All right. Obviously, that's not what I want. Okay, now let me put it back to plane. Now, let me actually enable plane here again. I just want to make sure that everything works before I can merge this with my development branch. I think I've been working on this issue for over 3 weeks now, seriously. um, I was hoping that it was not going to take me that long. Okay, so here everything should work fine. Nothing should, you know. Okay, let me just measure my memory. Measurement. See how much memory I'm consuming. Okay, that's 8%. Okay, that's not bad. All right. Okay, let me go back to code. Everything seems to be working fine. But let's do one more test and let's call it a day. Why? Because sometimes when you think that everything works, you find that something is not actually working. Just like what we saw here. X 8. Just one final test, guys, and that is it. I just want to make sure that things did not break. Put it there. And put it here, and I'm gonna put it. Actually, I'm gonna put it right where my character right now is at. There. All right. I'm just going to give it whatever material. Doesn't have to be something nice. Let me call this plain. All right. Let me explore this again. Now I don't have a sphere anymore, so I'm going to remove that. Alright, let me play this, and this will be our last test. It's almost 5 p.m. here too, so okay, overall I think that we have this pretty much somewhat solid. Everything looks fine. I'm going to share with you here the memory consumption so you can actually see it. Alright, so let's go up the hill. Okay, everything looks good. Good. I'm not consuming too much memory, which is good. CPU, I'm sorry. So yeah, everything looks good, guys. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna take myself in. Good. All right. Boom. Let's return that over here. All right. So what I have to do next is actually just merge my the new changes, and we'll be good. Alright guys, I think that's about it for today. It's almost 5 p.m. here. Thank you for joining. I hope you learned something. Um, I should be back. I think I'm gonna do a live stream tomorrow early, like around say like 9 a.m. Um, I have another issue that I have to fix. That should be fun because um, I kind of don't have. I have no idea why that is occurring. But I'll show you tomorrow what's the problem. Um, so thank you guys for joining. You know, joining my Twitch channel. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a nice day.